Namaskar. Hello, I am Dr. Kannan. I am a cardiologist from Madurai, which is in Tamil Nadu. Today I am going to discuss how one can manage oneself at home if they have been tested positive for coronavirus infection. Now, the recommendation of various government differs. Right now in Madurai, which is a part of Tamil Nadu, the government rule says if somebody tests positive, he should either get admitted in a government institution or in a private hospital. However, this rule might change subsequently. Whether you have been admitted in the hospital or whether you are managing yourself at home, what should we do so that the disease doesn't progress? One might ask that I am absolutely fine. Just because I have been tested positive, why should I do something? I am absolutely fine. Yes, that's true. Whenever we diagnose this coronavirus infection, the diagnosis usually happens between 3 to 7 days. Third day, fifth day, sixth day, they have some mild symptoms and we diagnose this coronavirus infection. But the clinical deterioration starts from 8th day, 9th day onwards. So between 8 days to 12 days or 8 days to 14 days, they are really dangerous period where some of the patients develop clinical worsening and subsequently they need more care and more treatment. So how we can prevent from an asymptomatic status to a symptomatic status? That's what the aim of this video is. We have to do 4 things. First thing is how to boost our immunity. Second thing is how to reduce the viral load in the body. Third thing is how to protect our lungs by doing breathing exercises. And fourth thing, how to monitor ourselves whether we are clinically fine or whether we are clinically worsening. First, let us come to boosting the immunity. First and foremost is that you should be in a very relaxed state. There is a strong connection between mind and the body. A relaxed mind generally prevents the disease from progressing. Whereas a tensed mind, if you are really worried about this, that, you hear that story and this story and things like that, there is a good chance that your immune power comes down and the disease can progress. So first thing you need to do is that you just accept the fact that you have been tested positive and just be relaxed that you are going to recover. Okay. Second thing is taking adequate vegetables and lot of fruits. Choose lot of colorful green vegetables and also fruits. You can also take vitamin C, vitamin D and zinc, which are known to boost our immunity. Then what modification do we need to do in the food? We have to take protein rich food. If you take any Indian diet, the main content of the Indian diet is carbohydrate. Nearly 85% to 90% of Indian diet is only carbohydrate, and you need to replace most of the carbohydrate into proteins. We need to eat at least 1 gram per kilogram of protein per day. Suppose if you are a 50 kilo weighing man, you need to eat 50 grams of protein per day. But if you just check your diet, there will be hardly 20 or 25 grams of protein per day. So please include a lot of proteins. The amount you eat should be reduced. The total calorie going inside the body should be reduced because your activities are going to be much lesser. But whatever the food you are taking, that should be rich in proteins. You can take egg, you can take paneer, you can take sprouts, you can take all vegetarian or non-vegetarian forms of proteins should be included in the diet so that they are also immune boosters. I just remind you, whenever you say antibodies and things like that, they are all nothing but proteins. So it's very important that you take adequate proteins to boost your immune power. Second thing, how do we reduce the virus load? This virus enters through eyes, nose and mouth. Okay, but majority entrance is through nose and mouth and they go and lodge in the pharynx. Pharynx is in simple English is called throat. So they go and lodge in the throat and there they stay for some time, multiply before they further descend down into the lungs and into the body. So if you take care of your throat very well, the virus multiplication can be very much reduced. Now, when we say throat or pharynx, there are 2 components. There is one component in the upper part which is in relation to the nose. We call that as nasopharynx. There is another part of the throat which is in relation to the mouth which we call as oropharynx. So you take a lukewarm water, add enough salt, make it into hypertonic saline. If you want, you can add some chlorhexidine or betadine drops so that the antiviral or virucidal property becomes much more, and with that you can do gargling. It's not that you are going to gargle the mouth, you have to gargle the throat. So you pour some quantity in the mouth, turn your head backwards as much as possible and put out your tongue and produce the sound like that. When you do like that, that solution will actually descend into the pharynx, and you will see that irritation over the pharynx comes down whenever you do this gargling. In this process, few drops of the solution can go into the stomach, but doesn't matter, it is totally harmless. So you should do this, keep the solution in the throat for some time, and then you can bend forward and can spit out the solution. And this is for the oropharynx. What do we do for the nasopharynx? Those who have practiced yoga, you all know about a process called Jalneti. I am demonstrating. So இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பாட்டில் அந்த உப்பு கலந்த நீர் எடுத்துக்கலாம். இப்போ இந்த பக்கம் பண்ண போகிறோம்னா தலை இந்த பக்கம் சாய்ச்சிக்கணும். If you cannot do this Jalneti, the other alternative is that take the same solution in a small bottle with a nozzle, and which you can directly apply it over the nose. You turn your head backward and apply into each nostril. Third thing is doing breathing exercises. As you are aware, this deadly virus mainly affects the lungs, and more we protect the lungs, less and less we will become diseased and we can remain asymptomatic. Now you know, all of you know about the balloons, the simple balloons. When you inflate or when you blow the balloon, initially when you blow, you need to apply a lot of pressure. And once the balloon inflates to some extent, thereafter you need to simply push the air at a much lesser pressure so that the balloon inflates, isn't it? So the same property has to be applied to the lungs. We do have thousands of balloons in the lungs. We call that as alveoli, and all the alveoli are put together and they are connected to the airway. So we have a lot of balloons. So if you prevent this alveoli from collapsed state, if you retain the alveoli in the partially open state, it's easy for the lungs to expand and then to expand. Inhale and exhalation becomes very simple. So I am going to tell you very simple breathing exercises. First thing is, with a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, you inhale. Take full breath of the whole, both lungs on the both sides. And then retain the breath for 10 counts or 15 counts or 20 counts or 30 counts, as much as you can. Then release the breath. When you exhale or when you release the breath, it has to be very slowly done over a count of 15 or 20. I'll just demonstrate. See. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So like that you have to completely exhale. Now by doing so, you are able to bring out all the used up air. You are able to push out all the used up air. The lung is nearly empty, so that when you inhale, you are taking all the fresh air. Imagine that you are only partially exhaling, only that much new air is going to go inside. So that's why it's very important to exhale very gradually and slowly and completely deflate the lungs. And then again you repeat the process. You can do this for 1 minute and then for another 1 minute the next exercise. The next exercise is practically the same, but here when you exhale you are going to do with some resistance. Now imagine that you are blowing a balloon. Same thing, that you inhale deeply and then you blow out against your pressure. If you have a balloon, you can blow into the balloon, or you can simply do like this. Now what is the advantage of doing this? When you do this, you can understand that you are increasing the airway pressure. Okay, the pressure into our trachea and into the bronchi and other alveoli will increase. And if there are any collapsed alveoli, they also get opened up. So you do the first exercise and then the second exercise, again the first one, alternating like this for 3 to 5 minutes. And this has to be done every 3 to 4 hours, minimum of 3 times a day. So if you do this lung exercise regularly, the alveoli will never collapse. Even if there is some collection because of the virus infection, even if there is some secretions because of virus infection, that all will come into the main tube and that will induce you cough. And you will cough it out, either cough it out or you will probably without your knowledge you will swallow into your intestine. Okay, so it's very important. And next important thing about the lungs is that this is the chest, as you can see in the figure. The heart is in the front. The main portion of the lungs is at the back. You can imagine that routinely whenever we lie down in our supine position with our head facing up. and hence only a anterior aspect or the front aspect of the lungs they expand well, whereas the posterior aspect or the back aspect of the lungs they cannot expand well. Now here, because the main process is in the lungs, you lie in a prone position. Okay, you start practicing to lie in a prone position, and once you lie in the prone position, there is more chance for the lungs to expand and collapse, and hence your inhalation and exhalation will be much more efficacious. This may be difficult initially. It's not that the entire sleeping period should be in the prone position. You are going to turn to the normal supine position many times, but please practice that most of the time you sleep in the prone position. Okay. As told, I've been doing regular breathing exercises. I am trying to reduce my viral load, and I am taking enough proteins and doing other things to boost my immunity, and I am remaining asymptomatic. Is it okay for me to remain at home? How do I know that I am okay? See, if you are having persistent fever, you are going to go to a doctor. If you are having breathlessness, you will go to a doctor. But there is a problem with this viral disease. You know, normally there is oxygen circulating in the blood, and if you check the oxygen saturation, that will be more than 95%. Generally, it will be 96%, 98% or 100%. I have shown you an image. This is called pulse oximeter. It's very easily available. That can be attached to the finger, and once you put it on, it will tell you your heart rate and the oxygen saturation. As I said, heart rate can vary between 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever the number it is, but the saturation should be more than 95%. Suppose if the saturation becomes less than 93%, you should seek medical attention. Now, the problem with this disease is that all those who develop a saturation of less than 93%, they are not symptomatic. There are many individuals where the saturation has fallen to 80, 75, still they are happy. That's why we have given the name, this called happy hypoxia syndrome. Hypoxia means reduced oxygen in the body. In spite of reduced oxygen in the body, these patients are not complaining. They are very simply sitting happily. But on the other hand, in the body, because of the hypoxia, they will develop acidosis. The disease gradually worsens, and suddenly the clinical condition deteriorates. They come in a very bad shape and collapse. So in order to prevent this, you have to check your saturation regularly, at least twice or thrice a day. It's better to buy this pulse oximeter and check your oxygen saturation if you are home quarantining yourself with the positive corona status. So what about medicines? The only medicine you need to take is paracetamol. That's going to reduce your fever. That's going to reduce your body pain related to coronavirus infection. I did mention about zinc, vitamin C and calcium. They are not medicines, they are basically nutritional supplements. Some drugs like hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin and some antiviral drugs have been recommended by ICMR. But these medicines can be taken only with the proper prescription from a medical officer. You cannot take it by yourselves. So friends, if you do all these things, boost your immune power, reduce your viral load, do regular breathing exercises, and check yourself with the help of pulse oximeter. If all these things are done, it's very less likely that your disease will progress and you will remain healthy. Thank you very much for watching.